Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another episode of Dear Nero, a now weekly series here in the channel where every Wednesday I sit down and answer questions that were sent in by the community via Twitter. So if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, it's at NerosCinema. Pretty much any of my socials are at NerosCinema, if you guys are wondering. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty fun week. I have a number of great questions here. Season 6 for Black Ops Cold War starts tonight. At the time of this video being recorded, it is 6 p.m. on October 6th, therefore in... call it roughly 6 hours. Season 6 will go live, therefore new maps, new guns, and stuff like that. So the gameplay today is just going to be Black Ops Cold War, but it's going to be prior to Season 6, obviously, because at the time of this video being recorded, it does not exist. But I've been using this series as kind of like a mini update for my life and talking about that towards the very beginning of the video and then answering questions later on in the video. So let's go ahead and jump into that first. The past week has been actually pretty insane. I've gotten back in on a bit of a fitness kick, and by fitness, I mean slight weightlifting, like not really, but slight weightlifting, and then the rest of it is pretty much just all been cardio, jogging, walking, and doing the 10,000 steps a day thing. I missed one day early on, like once I first started, but after that, every single day, no matter what, without fail, does not matter the weather, does not matter how I feel, does not matter anything. I could be sick as a dog, it does not matter. Every single day, 10,000 steps, running, jogging, walking, biking, whatever, does not matter. It has to happen every day, and it's really been teaching me a lot, like the discipline that comes where, like, you know, it'll be, let's say I had a day where, you know, I spent the day with a girlfriend and I had some work stuff to do, and then before I know it, it's like, you know, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and I only have 1,000, 2,000 steps in for the entire day, and I have 8,000 more to go. I go crank those out. I just go jogging. No matter what, without excuse, before midnight, every single day, 10,000 steps, and that has been helping me a lot, getting me out of the house, listening to, it's kind of fun, like lately I just put on like random oldie stuff, right? The one walk I did nothing but like Louis Armstrong, the other walk I did nothing but Frank Sinatra, the other walk I did nothing but Ella Fitzgerald, and that's been kind of fun, like finding all this old music that I'd heard a while ago but haven't heard in a very long time, and also listening to new stuff that I'd never heard before, which has been enjoyable, and just walking around and just feeling good, getting the fresh air, and that's been fantastic. Still sober, I've not drank. It gets some days are more difficult, I would say. Some days are just like, you know, the stresses of life hit you, and I'm like, it's like so easy just to fall right back into, you know, the old habits and stuff like that, but I haven't done it, and I don't plan on doing it, and I'm happy with where I am right now. I keep telling myself that, you know, being bored or being stressed or being whatever is much better than what I was before, so, you know, fingers crossed that continues, and things have been going really well. I actually haven't been able to really pay much attention, but it's been over 2 weeks now. It's been 2, maybe 3. I can't remember how many weeks it's been. It's been a little bit, and so things are definitely going good. Do I miss it? Sure. But not going back to it. You know, last time I, you know, wanted to clean up my act and become like a normal human, I think I made it about this far. I made it about 2 weeks, and I'm like, yeah, I could probably just, you know, control it and just ease back into it, you know, and there's no controlling it. There's no easing back into it for me. So staying away from it, being active, feeling good, and enjoying lots of video games as of late, which has been a nice change of pace. And it's also fun because there's even more video games coming out in the near future, which is going to make it even more interesting. But with the introduction there out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and jump into the questions. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 questions here that I took from Twitter. You guys are sending in so many great questions every single week. It's difficult to pick, you know, the ones even used for the video because there's just so many good ones. But if I answer all of them, we're talking like a 3-hour-long video, and that simply is just not viable. So let's jump into it with the first question coming in from Jet, who writes, Dear Nero, how much time do you plan on sinking into the Battlefield 2042 beta, if at all? Hope you're doing all right, man. Keep at it. Well, thank you, Jet. Good to see you, of course. How much time am I going to sink into the beta? I'm going to give it a go once it's the actual free open beta. I'm not going to get, like, the Origin. I'm not going to pre-order, or was it EA Play? I don't have any of that, so I'll wait for it to actually be the free beta. I'll put a little bit of time into it. If it blows me away, sure, I'm going to, like, you know, play it a bunch, but am I the only one? Am I the only one out there who is sick of betas? I'm actually, like, back in the day, it was so cool because, like, you know, you get to get your hands on the game early and you're excited and you get to try it and you're like, oh, wow, this is fun. It's basically just one big marketing tool. While at the same time, they do take player feedback. I think Sledgehammer did a pretty good job of making changes based on player feedback during the Vanguard beta, despite the fact I barely played it. But in general, I'm just tired of betas. I'm tired of seeing games in this, like, incomplete state. I'm tired of, like, fixing the game for the developers and, like, giving all this feedback and stuff. It's like, I don't know, like, with all the betas that happen, by the time the actual game comes out, most of the game is all like it's almost solved by that point. It's not nearly as fun or as interesting. Like I put so much time in the Cold War beta, for example, that when the full game came out, it was fun, sure, but I'd already seen 6 of the 8 maps the game had, or whatever it was. I used most of the weapons already, so there was very few like new things to experience in the full game as compared to the beta. So I will play the Battlefield beta once it goes free. I'm not going to probably put an obscene amount of time into it, but fingers crossed that's really good, because I haven't really sunk my teeth into a Battlefield game properly since the old days of like Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4. The next question is going to be coming in from Chipface, who writes, Dear Nero, what are your thoughts on New World, and is it worth putting in the money to play it? So, lately I have been playing an obscene amount of New World. All my friends have it, and we all got hooked on the game together. We play every single night, and it has been incredibly fun. I think Amazon knows exactly what they're doing. One of the reasons why I decided to get the game was because it wasn't a $60 game. It's an MMO that does not have a monthly sub fee, which is good. But also, it's backed by Amazon, which is a company that basically has more money than God. So, if they want to make this the next World of Warcraft that goes on for, 15 plus years, they can do that. And it's also just a $40 game. But I think they know exactly what they're doing. They have put every aspect of, like, everything that's possibly addicting about a video game, they have put into that game. Like, most of the game, if you think about it, like, is not difficult. Like, doing the dungeons are not difficult, with the exception of the extreme lag that happens within those dungeons. Doing the corruption little portal things that show up on the map, those are not inherently difficult, yet you spend all your time doing other things instead. Like, if the entire game was just like doing dungeons and doing those corruption things, people would be bored out of their minds, because it's not hard really whatsoever. But instead, people aren't even really doing those things. Instead, they are leveling up their smelting, they're leveling up their wood cutting, and their there's all sorts of stuff in there, like the stuff that you do with your tailoring and your leatherworking and in your workshop, and doing things with your faction and donating things to your company to be able to buy territories, and then having these wars between the Covenant and the Marauders, and all these different things. Like, people are basically just, it's basically like old school RuneScape. People are just running around for hours on end cutting trees. Or in my case, I'm running around hours on end mining boulders so I can get 100 of my mining, so that I can therefore start working on star metal and mining star metal. But I can't even smelt the star metal until our faction's little smelter thing gets up to tier 4. And I have to actually also get my smelting up to 100, which it's currently 88. So I have to go find a bunch of iron and make that into steel and keep on smelting that stuff to get my stuff up to 100. It's super grindy, but it's like addictingly grindy, because it takes like every good thing from every other like RPG game out there, where you have this constant feeling of self-worth and player progression. Like, it feels good when you get up to 100 mining. You're like, oh wow, I'm one of the few people on my server with 100 mining. I'm one of the few people that can actually get star metal. It's a good thing, and you level up all these different things, and it's so much fun. And it's grindy. Like, you'll just go like cut trees for hours on end and have fun doing it, and it doesn't really make sense inherently, but it's it's enjoyable, I suppose. So far it's fun. Is it worth the money? I would argue that it's worth $40, especially because it's an MMO that's going to get constant updates. It's going to be updated quite a bit over the course of the coming weeks, months, and even years. And you get in now, you're there from the very beginning. It's $40 instead of $60, and there's no monthly sub fee. I think that part's cool. So, is it worth it? I would say, yeah. I'm really enjoying the game. Actually, let me open up Steam here. We got the game like 4 days ago. Good God, no way. We got the game like 4 days ago, and it says I have like 44 hours played. I guess that does make sense. Like, when I get home at night, I haven't really been streaming or anything. I'm going to go back to streaming on Twitch, if anyone listening cares about that. And I'll probably be streaming some New World along with COD and all that. But, I guess I do play like 6 hours a night. Jeez. 44 hours? I haven't had the game even that long. Oh, well, it's a fun game. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. The next question is going to be coming in from Dunker, who writes, Dear Nero, did Warzone revive the Call of Duty franchise? Yeah. It actually did, and I'm sad because it revived it in the wrong way. Like, you guys ever see, this is going to be a spoiler for an old show, or movie, but you guys ever seen Pet Sematary? Yeah, sure, you revive the kid in Pet Cemetery, but it's not the same kid. It's not the same dog. Anything you bury out there in that cemetery doesn't come back the same. And Warzone, well, I think it did revive the Call of Duty franchise for a lot of people. Not to say that the series is dead, but for a lot of people it was. They stopped playing, and Warzone brought them back. So yes, it revived the franchise for them. It brought people back in the COD, but it's not COD. It's Battle Royale. That's the problem. I've been talking about that forever. The fact that Battle Royale is not inherently 6v6 multiplayer, and therefore, when people think of Call of Duty these days, a lot of them just think of Warzone, and that pains my soul because Call of Duty is Call of Duty. It's supposed to be 6-on-6, search and destroy, domination, dark matter, gold camo, prestige mode, things like that. But for a lot of people, they don't think that. They think OP setups and true game data and JGOD. Not that I have anything against those guys, but they think of those YouTube channels. They think of Tim the Tapman streaming at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium and going for wins and plunder mode and stuff like that. They don't think of COD multiplayer anymore. They think Warzone, and I think that's a travesty. And I'm hoping that with the new Battlefield coming out, the new Halo coming out, that we have a bunch of competition for the Call of Duty franchise once again, and as a result, Activision and all these studios are forced to, really kick it up a notch when it comes to multiplayer to bring people into normal multiplayer again, because Battlefield's not competing with Battle Royale. Halo's not competing with Battle Royale. They're competing with multiplayer. Right, actual old school normal multiplayer. And so Call of Duty's got to try a lot harder now that they once again have some competition from some old foes, and I'm excited to see where it's going to take the franchise in the future. The next question is going to be coming in from COD Zombies Hub, who writes, Dear Nero, I know you don't play zombies often. Why is that? What pushes you away from the mode? Do you like zombie modes from previous games more or less than this year's adaptation of the mode? Keep up the good work and content, bro. Well, thank you, Mr. COD Zombies Hub. I like zombies well enough. I think that Cold War Zombies, and this sounds horrible, is boring. And I think it's boring for a couple of reasons. When the game first came out, it was awesome. The Machina was a fun map, but the best part, at least in my opinion, was it was fun going for the zombies camos. It was fun going for Plague Diamond. It was fun. Some people went for Dark Aether. I did not, because after I realized it's just so grindy. Was it like 3,200 headshots with like each gun? It's a grind. It's not even a challenging grind. It's a boring grind. It's a mind-numbing grind. It's actually, now I think about it, kind of like New World, but it it's one of those things where it just, going for Dark Aether was just not worth it. It was so time consuming. And while the maps are cool and I like the perks and I like the fact that you get the, help me out here, the Eternum, no, that's the name of the New World map, Ethereum, wherever the little crystals are that you get to level up your perks and make your perks better and make your weapons better, like the sense of progression was really cool. That's something I've always wanted in zombies. And they really, hit it out of the park with zombies this year. But the problem is Cold War Zombies is ridiculously easy. Like painfully easy. You go back to the old days, zombies were a bit more difficult. It's kind of like skill-based matchmaking is always like, turned on in zombies, and skill-based matchmaking always assumes that you're an idiot. So you never get a challenging match. Like the first time, help me out here, the Russian city or whatever, it's got the wonder weapon that can be upgraded 4 different ways, and the next to like most recent one, I streamed that map when it came out, and yeah, exactly. I literally can't even like name the map, but I made it to round 50 my very first time playing it. Very first time, knowing nothing about the map, I made it to round 50. And I never played it again. It's not challenging. And if you're going for Easter eggs, sure, that could be challenging. If you're going for like super high scores, like, if you're going for like round like 1,000 or something obscene like that, then sure. But in general, I find zombies insanely easy, like mind-numbingly easy. There's no challenge, there's no risk, there's very little reward outside of like making yourself more powerful in a game mode that's inherently not even hard to begin with. It's boring. I do like older zombies more. I think that custom zombies is way more fun than official zombies. Like, if you want to have fun with zombies, in my opinion, and you have a decent enough computer, get Black Ops 3 on your PC, and then you'll have basically unlimited zombies content with all the custom maps that are made for that game. And oftentimes, some of those maps are just as good, if not better, than the stuff that's actually put out by Treyarch. But yeah, I have nothing against zombies. It's boring this year, and hopefully it's a bit more difficult and challenging and interesting in Call of Duty Vanguard. The next question is going to be coming in from Static Shock, who writes, Dear Nero, what is content you've always wanted to create but never did? Good question. I'm actually starting to work on it now, I suppose. The content I've always wanted to do, but I never really did, would be these Call of Duty retrospectives, where I go back and I discuss like kind of a niche part of Call of Duty history. Like recently I did the Call of Duty Ghost DLC, and how it was insane and why it was so good. I have another video similar to that coming out here in a couple days. And before that, I did a video called The Legacy and History of Pro Perks in the Call of Duty franchise. I went over, how Pro Perks started, why they were good, how they were in Modern Warfare 2 versus how they changed in Black Ops 1, then eventually in Modern Warfare 3. That kind of stuff is fun. Those are the kind of videos I really like watching. Like, I like watching videos like that about like World of Warcraft or Fallout or like these other games. I'm like, well, why don't I, if I spend all this time watching videos like this from other creators, I enjoy this style of video, why don't I just make it myself? I did the top 10 removed features in Call of Duty history video. That was also kind of a retrospective. That was very fun. And that video actually blew up. And I think Sledgehammer Games watched it because like 8 of the 10 things I discussed, they brought back for Call of Duty World War II. But in general, though, that's the kind of content I've always wanted to make, but I don't make it enough. And I should definitely, now that we're, a new COD's coming out, and right now we're kind of just waiting for Vanguard, and we have about a month until it's here, I think now is kind of like a perfect time to really go back and dig deep in some of that old school stuff. Also, I think it'd be fun to do another video on like some Call of Duty 4 pre-alpha builds, because it's been a while since I've done that. The next question is going to be coming in from Gavin, who writes, Dear Nero, hope you're doing well. I am, Gavin, thank you. My question is, what do you realistically think it will take for Call of Duty to ever live up to the Xbox 360 era? Even though we've had some good games since the Xbox 360 era, they haven't managed to capture that essence ever again in COD, at least in my opinion. So, Gavin, a big part of that, and this is going to hurt, all right? You guys all ready? I'm about to hurt a lot of you, and I don't want to. It's going to hurt me more. It's going to hurt you. We're not kids anymore. We're not young anymore. At least a lot of us aren't. I'm going to be 30. Did you guys know that? I'm going to be 30 in 1 month, which is obscene. I'm going to be an old man. And I imagine like all the gray hair and all that just kicks in at the moment the clock strikes midnight. But yeah, I'm going to be hitting 30, and that's going to be crazy to me. And when I first started playing COD was with Call of Duty 4. It was in 2007. I was a 15/16-year-old kid in high school, living with my mom and my brother. I didn't have a care in the world. I'd stay up way too late. I would be tired when I woke up in the morning. I would go to school. I would go through all the high school stuff, which was never any fun. I would rush home after school if I didn't have football. Like during the fall, obviously, I'd play sports. But if I didn't have football or anything, I would just rush home, and I'd play COD from like 3:30 in the afternoon to like midnight. Every single day, playing COD 4, playing World at War with a group of my friends from real life, my best friend, my cousin, the people we met online, and every single day was fantastic, and it was awesome, and Call of Duty was new. I didn't care about my stats. I didn't care what other people thought of me. I didn't care about making content. I just had fun for the sake of enjoying COD. And that was fantastic. And a lot of us were in that same boat. Wherever your situation may be, obviously you're going to be, different lifestyle, different, some of you are going to be older, some of you are going to be younger, whatever. But we all have essentially the same story where we played COD all day, every day. We loved it. When we weren't playing COD, we were thinking about COD. It was so fun. It was so fresh. It was so new. And it was so interesting. And back then, it was about the game. The quality of the game is what sold the game as compared to just all these different kinds of marketing tactics where it's like, oh, yeah, the game's going to be kind of shitty, but we're going to have free post-launch support. So just stick with it. It might eventually get good. Also, buy our battle pass. Games back then, they sold because they were good. And also, Call of Duty was new. It was a cultural phenomenon at the time, going from Call of Duty 4 into World at War, and then especially Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2. Like, those games were massive. And, Eminem was in all the commercials. Like, it was huge, right? Call of Duty was massive at the time. And you can't really go back to that. And then an example I can bring up would be like Minecraft, right? So Minecraft is still very popular. Some could argue it's even more popular now in terms of sheer, player volume than it was back then. But people don't think or talk as much about Minecraft, at least in my own personal circles. And it's because Minecraft's been out for a very long time. But when Minecraft first hit, it was huge, right? And Call of Duty is kind of the same way. I don't think Minecraft is ever going to have an update or a patch, or I guess the dungeons thing is kind of popular. But I don't think Minecraft's ever going to be as popular as when it first hit the scene and it was all brand new and every single content creator under the sun was talking about the game and streaming it and making videos and so on and so forth. And it's gonna be hard for COD to do the same thing. COD's kind of like in the same boat where it's been out for so long, we all know what COD is. If you're over the age of 9 years old, you've played COD. You know what COD is. So it's gonna be very hard for them to break new ground, right? The Xbox 360 days, the old PlayStation 3 days, it was a very special time, and I don't think we can ever properly go back to that. They can do things that are similar to those days, but I don't think we can ever properly go back to being 16 years old, playing Modern Warfare 2 all day and night, grinding for Red Tiger and Fall Camo, and, game chat in the Xbox 360, where we all learned all these horrible things our mothers have apparently been up to all these years, and we can't go back to those days. We can't, and that's why I don't think any COD game's ever going to live up to the 360 era. But instead of trying to compare, and this is something I struggle with myself, instead of trying to compare every new game and every new update and all of that with the old Xbox 360 days, just judge them for what they are and judge them based on the past couple of years of Call of Duty. And then if you do it that way, you're not going to be as disappointed, or at least hopefully you won't be as disappointed. The next question is going to be coming in from Elko Karot. I don't know how to pronounce your name, dude, but he writes, Dear Nero, whose side are you on? Blame Truth and Ape Thoughts and a bunch of people where they criticize people for doing reverse boosting and then they also do it themselves? Or are you on the side of YouTubers who actually do it and then deny everything? Sorry for my English, I am from Puerto Rico. So, Elko, I am on the side of I don't care. I am at the point now where I simply 100% do not care about reverse boosting. If you reverse boost, awesome. I hope you're having fun. But here's the thing. Be open about it, all right? Don't just, pretend that you're this amazing COD player when in reality you're facing Timmy No Thumbs and, his handicapped sister, right? Just don't. If you're going to reverse boost, be open. Be honest about it. People understand. I mean, half the reason why I like playing Black Ops Cold War this year, despite the fact, well, I guess I played it quite a bit, and then I got Dark Matter, and Dark Matter was fun there for a while. And then after I realized there's nothing to do after getting Dark Matter, I kind of stopped playing the game. But another reason why I didn't really play that much Cold War this year was literally every single lobby I have is full of CDL skins, scuff jumping with the 74U around every single corner. It gets old, man. It really does. Every lobby is insanely sweaty. It's insanely, you just can't chill out and enjoy if you're a decent COD player. And I remember Tom Henderson, who's that guy who's been leaking, Call of Duty footage, or Call of Duty information forever now. In fact, before he was Tom Henderson, which is just his name, he had a YouTube channel called The Long Sensation. He used to be featured back in the day in my old Moab Monday and Moab Friday and Chem Strike Saturday series. And he was a good player. He was always a very good player. But even him, he's like, dude, I'm tired of being a good player and being punished by, every single game having to be like a CDL tryout against a bunch of people that haven't showered in days. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. So he openly reverse boosts. Not that he's much of a streamer or anything. He streams on occasion, but he just I reverse boost and I have 400 nukes in Black Ops Cold War and it's a lot of fun. And I watched him stream the one day. He said, I'm going to put up a stream and talk about Battlefield or whatever, but he was streaming COD. I'm like, okay, I'll tune in. And the very first game, he went on a 29 kill streak. And I'm like, what? I was watching the gameplay. I'm like, this is what old COD used to look like. Wait, there's not a single CDL skin in that entire lobby. No one's scuff jumping. Wow, that looks fun. And I'm sitting there thinking, maybe I should just straight up reverse boost. I probably enjoy COD a lot more. But the thing that can be holding me back from reverse boosting is in Vanguard. I'm not a fan of the inherent gameplay that Vanguard has. It's very Modern Warfare-esque. And so, as a result, what's going to get me through that game and what I think is going to make me enjoy the game is hopefully they have a decent progression path. I mean, that's what I wanted to do with Cold War, but I couldn't do it because there's nothing to do in Cold War. It's not even 100%er. You can do every challenge in the game, and you get nothing for it in Cold War, which just basically shows how little the devs actually care. But in Vanguard, I think I'm going to try and complete all the challenges. I'm going to try to, get all the, Dark Matter camo, all the camos for every gun, do all the things. I'm going to do all the challenges in the game and not necessarily play for stats or anything like that. Because I've been at the point now where I've been a 2.5 KD, 80% win rate player for a very long time. And it's just stressful. With skill-based matchmaking, having good stats is not fun. So instead, I'm not going to intentionally tank my stats or anything. But if a challenge is run around meleeing with a pistol in your hand and then go on a 10 kill streak, I'm like, all right, that's what I gotta do, and then my stats will just take care of themselves and get really shitty in the process. So if I feel if I were to reverse boost while also going for every challenge in the game for Vanguard, then that takes away from the accomplishment of doing every challenge in the game. It's when, going back to it, if Tom Henderson says he has 400 nukes in the game, well, he's a reverse booster. It's not the same thing. As someone who doesn't reverse boost and plays in lobbies I have to play in every time I decide to boot up Cold War on the frequent or infrequent, I suppose, occasions I actually do that. So my opinion on reverse boosting, I don't care. Go for it. If you're a good player, it's horrible. It's actually not fun at all unless you're playing in a full party of equally good players. So I do not blame people for reverse boosting. I just don't do it myself. The next question is going to be coming in from Kenny, who writes, Dear Nero, what kind of shows are you into or are currently watching? So Kenny, in general, I don't watch a lot of TV shows, but it's spooky season, so as a result, we've been watching some spooky stuff. I can recommend Midnight Mass. It's a Netflix show that's made by Mike Flanagan, who's the same guy that did The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor, which are shows I really enjoy. So we watched all of that, which has been fantastic. And then after that, we're like, okay, we want like a spooky show to watch. You know, it's Halloween, something like that. And we were just scrolling, and we randomly saw it, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's not a kid's show necessarily, but they did a reboot of like Are You Afraid of the Dark, which was a kid's show back in the 90s, which was kind of like the X-Files almost, but for kids in a way. But they did a reboot of it in 2019, which is a bit more intense, I guess. It's still Nickelodeon at the end of the day, so it's not like crazy or over the top, but some of it is pretty spooky. And so we watched the first season of that. I think there's another season that we haven't checked out yet. Then after that, we're like, let's go back and like watch the original Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because like 8-year-old me growing up was like terrified of that show. When that theme song came on, I'm like, switch the channel. But going back and watching it, I think we watched like the first 5 episodes. They actually hold up as like nostalgic, you know, late 80s, early 90s kind of like creepy stories, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still Nickelodeon. There's not going to be gore. It's not going to be Saw or anything like that. Like, the stuff we have like today is so much more intense than back in the day. Like, if you go watch like any of the old school Friday the 13th, and then from like a visuals and like gore and violence perspective, compare that to like the Friday the 13th that came out in 2009, they're like completely different movies. I mean, obviously they are, but you know, they're pretty much completely different movies. The same is true of like the old Halloween movies versus the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. The Rob Zombie Halloween movies are so like over the top, gory and violent that it just like it kind of blows, you know, the other movies out of the water, at least from that perspective. So lately, we've been watching like Midnight Mass, new Are You Afraid of the Dark, old Are You Afraid of the Dark, and then I've always had, I think everyone has this kind of stuff. I've always watched like comfort shows almost. Like I don't watch a lot of television. I mostly play video games. So when I go to bed though, I'll either turn on like SportsCenter or I turn on like shows that I've seen every episode of a bazillion times, like King of the Hill or like maybe early seasons of Family Guy or The Simpsons, kind of stuff like that. Stuff you can turn on, watch for like 5 minutes so your eyes get heavy, and then just fall asleep. That's what I mostly watch. But if we're watching stuff, you know, for fun, lately, once again, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Midnight Mass, and basically anything that sounds relatively spooky. Oh, is there a Headless Horseman like series that came out forever and a half ago? I never actually saw that, so maybe we'll check that out since it's October. The next question is going to be coming in from Davin, who writes, Dear Nero, if you could be a part of the Olympics, what sport would you do and why? So back in high school, I guess high school / middle school, the only reason why I chose this question was just to talk about the old days. I was a sprinter and a high jumper, and I think my personal best for high jumping wasn't that crazy. It was only like 5'6" or something, but for like middle school, that was pretty high. And it's mostly because I was just always tall. I could just, you know, run, jump over the thing, and I could just do it. So yeah, if I could be in the Olympics, I guess high jumping and sprinting, I suppose, because that's what I did way back in the day. I was not a distance runner. I remember there was a time where a couple of my friends in the early days were like, you know, we're doing cross country this year. I'm like, well, I like running. I'm pretty fast. I should join cross country. Then I realized cross country is not about how fast you can run. It's like how far you can run and your endurance and mental fortitude and all that. And to practice for, you know, cross country, we just had to like jog around town for a couple of hours. And after like half an hour of that, I'm like, it's ridiculous. How do you guys do this? Everyone else is fine. They're like kind of bored with the fact that they're running. Meanwhile, I'm barely hanging on. So I quickly realized that I'm not a distance runner. And apologies if you guys hear my neighbor outside mowing. He is a mower by trade. It is 7 p.m. and he's actually outside mowing. It's like dark and he's like outside mowing his lawn. What are you going to do? The next question is going to be coming in from KB Fan, who writes, Dear Nero, what games are you excited about other than the new Call of Duty and Battlefield? Games that are coming up, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. The new Borderlands game is going to be coming out in March. That is going to be a lot of fun, and I also am just so desperate for a new Fallout game. The next question is going to be coming in from Hero, who writes, Dear Nero, what's your opinion on Back 4 Blood? Do you plan on playing it or checking it out at least? Well, Hero, I actually do. We played the beta for a little bit, but again, I'm so tired of betas, man. I just want the full game now. I'm at the point where I'm just going to stop playing betas. They just kind of like ruin the game. And a game like Back 4 Blood that is somewhat story-driven, I didn't want to like, you know, spoil myself too much on the story, so we played it a little bit. We got a feel for the mechanics. It's like Left 4 Dead, but newer, which is nice. New maps, new guns, new characters, story, and all that. That's going to be cool, I think. So we'll be playing Back 4 Blood, I'm sure. But we didn't play too much of the beta. It seems fun. It seems like a new Left 4 Dead, essentially. And old Left 4 Dead was fun. So I think my friend group will be getting it. We'll probably be streaming it, and it should be a good time. The next question is going to be coming in from Chris, who writes, Dear Nero, what are some of your favorite YouTubers that you enjoy watching? So, most of the COD guys, like, obviously, name an iconic COD guy, I've been watching them for a number of years. Lately, I've been enjoying the Storyteller Fallout series from the Shoddycast YouTube channel. I don't watch every video, but every now and then I just get into like watching stuff about old wrestling. So I kind of grew up with wrestling. In fact, my name Nero comes from Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's name in real life is Jeffrey Nero Hardy. When I first learned that, I thought that was cool as hell. So when it came time to make my first Xbox gamer tag, I'm like, well, my name's gonna be Nero. That's just a cool name, right? So I watch like What Culture Wrestling, WrestleMania, Cultaholic Wrestling, and stuff like that. On occasion, if it's about like an old school wrestler that I am interested in, I don't watch new wrestling really whatsoever, although I might be missing out. And once again, just COD YouTubers, Flame Truth, Drifter, Marksman. I watch Wildcat, obviously, who is not always COD, but Wildcat. If my friends make videos, I typically check those out. But in general, I don't watch that much YouTube, or at least as much as I used to. I mostly make YouTube videos now, and if I'm watching like video game content and stuff, it's typically Twitch. I'm watching more live streams as of late than I have been YouTube videos. The next question is going to be coming in from Roberto, who writes, Dear Nero, what is your favorite Halloween season film? So I answered a question similar to this last week, but I'm just going to give you guys a recommendation. If you guys have not seen the movie Sleepaway Camp, it's a sleeper of a pick, pun not intended. It's a gem. It's a really spooky, really creepy, like 80s horror movie. If you guys haven't seen it, Sleepaway Camp, highly recommend it. Go ahead and check that out. The next question is going to be coming in from Reptile, who writes, Dear Nero, do you believe Call of Duty will return to focusing on delivering a good multiplayer experience once again after the BR trend dies? That's the thing, right? The BR trend. People call it that, right? Let's see. PUBG release date. Oh, PUBG officially only came out in 2017? It's only been that long? I guess it initially came out in 2016. But, Fortnite, PUBG, it's been like 5 years, 5, 6, maybe even 7 years that like the Battle Royale, trend has been happening. And I'm wondering, is it ever going to end? I mean, Ubisoft announced they're doing like some sort of like Ghost Recon Battle Royale thing, and everyone's like, I could not care less. I could not care less. I'm sure they're going to pay all the top Twitch streamers to play the game, and as a result, it's going to get some traction early on, but it's going to die really quick if I had to guess. I mean, I've been wrong before, but if I had to guess, it might die pretty quick, and it's just because like people are so burnt out on BR, but is the trend still alive? Of course it is. Fortnite is still very popular. Warzone is very popular. Apex is insanely popular. Like, I don't know. Will Call of Duty return to focusing on multiplayer after BR? Well, sure, because that's how they're going to make their money. But the question is, when will that BR trend die? Because people call it a trend. They call it a fad. But it's been like 8 years, dudes. Like, I think it's kind of here to stay. But, I've been wrong in the past. The next and final question is going to be coming in from Z Destroyer, who writes, Dear Nero, any plans to play Overwatch 2? I know you used to post Overwatch 1, but there wasn't much interest. Would you consider streaming Overwatch 2 or posting it to your second channel? Yeah, 100%. Very interested in Overwatch 2. Cannot wait for the game. I basically play enough ranked Overwatch every season to get competitive points, and I stop playing just because I'm so just like, the game's basically in keep the lights on mode. They're not really doing a whole lot more to it until Overwatch 2, and it's not like playing Overwatch 1 right now is really going to properly prepare you for Overwatch 2, because Overwatch 2, they're switching to 5v5, which is nuts, and all the tanks are getting revamped and stuff, so it's going to be a lot different. And so if you want to play for fun, sure, but if you're playing like to prepare, it's not really the same thing. And I messed around with most of the characters, and there's not really a whole lot that keeps me invested in Overwatch 1 anymore. I play on occasion just for fun, but Overwatch 2 is going to be a blast. I can't wait for it. You're right in saying the Overwatch 1 really wasn't great on my channel. That's the thing, right? If you're a COD channel, 99% of COD channels are only allowed to post COD. That's just how it is. You post anything else, the videos die. In fact, I'm pretty sure like Gearbox Software flew me out to Los Angeles for the reveal event of Borderlands 3. I got to play the game early, record footage. I made a video of the game early, posted to my main channel. I think to this day, it's still under 10,000 views, which I think for a lot of people, obviously, count your blessings. 10,000 views is a lot for some people, but for my channel, if a video gets under 10,000 views, it's like, well, it's pretty clear people don't like that video. And if you post enough videos that people don't like, people unsub, they take you out of the algorithm, your channel dies. And so you have to post what people are actually going to click on. That is the reality of the world that we live in as content creators. And while Overwatch 1 is fun and I have so much playtime in it, I couldn't really post videos on it, but I did stream it quite a bit, and I can see myself posting more videos of it on my second channel, because my second channel is there just for whatever. I basically just post anything there. So yeah, I'll definitely be playing a lot of that and probably making videos and streaming it depending on how the reception is. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed the second episode, I suppose, of my return to Dear Nero, my weekly series here on the channel. Every Wednesday, I'll be posting it, and every Tuesday, I ask for questions on Twitter. So be sure to follow me on Twitter. It's at NerosCinema, along with every other social channel. What a fun time. It was definitely a very fun video. I like this kind of stuff because this is kind of video that I like to listen to as well. I don't necessarily watch intently for the gameplay. I may throw this on my second monitor, or maybe I'll play a video like this while I'm out doing my walks, and I just listen to whoever it is that made the video, you know, and I enjoy that kind of thing, and I enjoy making content like this because chances are, and you guys know who you are, some ears are about to perk up, but, you know, some of you, this entire video, have been sitting there playing Call of Duty or playing whatever video game, maybe playing New World even, and just been listening to this as background noise, and you may hopefully been enjoying your time. Maybe some of you listen to this on the way to or from work or to school, or maybe on your walks or whatever, you know, and I like making that kind of content for you guys. It helps, hopefully brought a smile to your face, hopefully you enjoyed some of the questions and some of the responses, and you guys, your day was made better by having listened to this video. But I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for listening, and stay tuned for more videos coming out this week. Have a good one, guys.